So I'm just going to be doing my makeup while I answer these questions. I'm going to prime my eyes with the NYX Ultimate Shadow and Liner Primer. I really enjoy this primer because it is my skin tone, so you don't have to be ultra precise with it. I like that a lot, and it doesn't last super great for like longevity's sake, but for what I'm doing right now, it's a good prime. So the first question is, what time do you go to bed? And that all depends on what I am doing that day and a little bit of what I'm going to be doing the next day. So for the most part, if I have to work in the morning the next day, I usually try to go to bed by like 10, 11. But if there's something else going on, if there's some kind of event or my friends want me to go out, that fluctuates. So I would say for the most part, though, like 10, 11. I'm going to be using kind of a blast from the past palette, the Emily Edit the Once palette. I love her videos. I watch every single video of hers basically as soon as it comes out. She is one of my favorite creators here on YouTube. Her YouTube name is Emily Noel. The next question is, who is your celebrity crush? And my celebrity crush, I would have to say, because it's quite literally been the same since I was like 12, is Zac Efron. I have loved Zac Efron since High School Musical. The first time I ever watched it, I was like, that's my man's. That's my man's. I know some people would say with his recent, I don't know if it's jaw surgery or filler or what the actual tea is on what's going on with him, but his face doesn't exactly look the same anymore. And some people would say, does that make him still not your celebrity crush? And I'm like, nah, he's still up there. I'm going in the shade Pi Phi right now. Next question. How would you rate your childhood on a scale of 1 to 10? Here's a deep question. So if I had to rate my childhood, I would give it a solid 3. To politely sum it all up, I have PTSD because of my mother and scored an 8 on the ACE quiz, which is the Adverse Childhood Experiences, and it only has 10 questions, so you can only get 10, and I scored an 8 out of 10. So if those two things don't help sum up why my childhood was a 3, don't know what else to tell you. I can make a video going deeper into that if there's any interest in it, but it's one of those that it is a heavier subject matter, and that does tend to freak some people out, so I kind of like to try to keep it as lighthearted and as fun as I can on my channel. Next up, what is your middle name? My middle name is Danae. What are my favorite values in friends? My favorite values in friends are honesty, loyalty, really just in general overall understanding people. I like having kind friends, the ones that kind but honest, because sometimes, you know, the truth isn't always kind necessarily or nice, but I need friends that are going to tell me the truth. So I would say that is those are the qualities I care about most when it comes to friendships and making new friends. Also, I love a good sense of humor. You know, who doesn't love to laugh? So the next question is, what is your funniest high school memory? And that's really hard to pick because I have a lot of them, because my friends and I in high school were hilarious. Like, we always constantly had inside jokes, always were laughing till we were crying. Like, I legitimately cannot pick just one. If I had to pick one of anything, I would have to say that, like, my show choir memories are probably the funniest. But even then, that's not fair, because we had really funny memories with marching band as well and cheerleading. So, like, high school was a good time for me in high school. My home life was not good, but at the high school, in school, high school was litty for me. So I honestly cannot pick just one. Like, I can pick one to tell you a story of, but it's not like my absolute favorite. But my friends would make me go up to people at band competitions, because at marching band competitions there are a lot of different schools all in one place, a lot of different people, a lot of people you don't know. So my friends thought it would be hilarious. There's this Mad TV skit that's like, the back of your head is ridiculous. If you know, you know. I'll insert a clip to try to help people who don't know what I'm talking about, because it is older.
Excuse me, can I touch you for a minute? Excuse me, can I touch you for a minute?
Yeah, what's up?
My name Darrell. It's spelled like Daryl, but it's pronounced Darrell. I just want to let you know the back of your head is ridiculous.
But they would have me go say that to people, to quote that skit, not that exact line, but that skit. And that was funny. And we would prank people all the time. We would ding dong ditch people, and we would leave hot dogs when we would ding dong ditch them. So, like, that's hilarious. There's just too many. I just have too many. Shout out to anybody from high school if you're watching this. Know that I only have love for you in my heart, and it was a good ass time. I look back at it incredibly fondly. I've really been blending these past like 8 questions, so I should probably do something else. But next up it says, what is your favorite holiday? And my absolute favorite holiday is Halloween. I love Halloween. I love decorating for Halloween. I love the spirit of Halloween. I love dressing up. I love costumes. I love the kind of supernatural meaning of Halloween, of it being a thinned veil and you kind of having more access to other worlds, if you will. I don't practice anything like that, but just like the thought of that, I think is really cool. And it's something that I thoroughly enjoy. Like, you're gonna find me at somebody's Halloween party every year. If I would throw my own, but that sounds like too much work. So we're going to go into the shade Eve Rose right here. What is your best trait? So my best trait, I used to find it incredibly hard to pick one because I had a lot of self-esteem issues, and it felt like any kind of praise towards myself was self-centered, but that's because I had been conditioned to think that anything about myself and positive about myself was wrong. So I would say my best trait is my compassion. I'm a very compassionate person and a very understanding person. There tends to not be enough of that in the world, and it makes me happy that I can be a source of that for other people and be kind of the light in not great times. And I'm just taking that shade Pizzazz, which is kind of like a maroon shimmer, and I'm using it to blend the shimmer into our outer edge. But if they mean like physical trait, my best trait is my skin, because I have worked very hard on my skin. I still have breakouts. It isn't perfect, but it is very much improved from what it once was. And it's something that I'm proud of myself for, because it's taken a lot of effort and research and help to, Get it like it is. What is my favorite restaurant? Well, my favorite restaurant, if I had to pick like a chain that's my favorite restaurant, it's 100% going to be Taco Bell. What is an interesting fact about you? So, an interesting fact about me is that I am vegetarian. I have been vegetarian since I was 13, which is a long time. It has been since 2007 that I have been a vegetarian. What is the first thing you notice about people? The first thing I notice about people is their noses. Don't know why. It's how I've been my whole life. I just notice someone's nose first. And if they don't mean physically, I would say I notice their energy, vibes and energy. Like I don't know a whole lot about like what color your aura is, and I can't like see people's auras and shit like that. But I do think everyone puts out a certain energy, and like they put out a certain energy, a certain frequency, if you will, into the world. And I am very good at sussing out good versus bad. And usually I'm not wrong. It's one of those that sometimes I wish I was wrong in the case of like meeting someone new or meeting a friend, significant other that they really like and they want this to be a good person, but the vibes are sus, you know. The next question I'm not going to answer, but I will explain why I'm not going to answer it. So the next question is, what is your spirit animal? And I hate the concept of westernized spirit animals because it's taking something that was a sacred practice for lots of Native American tribes, and I'm sure maybe even other indigenous people across the world, and it's making it into something cutesy and hee hee ha ha. And I don't want to participate in that, so I'm not answering that question. If I had to guess or reinterpret that question for what they mean, I think they mean like something that I heavily identify with, that I see myself in. And in that regard, there's two: Lumpy Space Princess from Avenger Time and Deandra from Most Popular Girls in School. Both of those are so me that it hurts sometimes. An honorable mention would be Patrick Star from SpongeBob. So if you can tell, I don't take myself too seriously. Not to say I'm dumb, because I'm not dumb, but I am very airheaded at times. I'm using the Revolution Conceal and Define. What is your favorite piece of clothing? So I've been doing a lot of work on not being attached to material items, just because I struggled with that a lot as a child, and it was the source of a lot of trauma for me as a child. So I've been working on not having as much of an emotional attachment to clothes, but I don't know. It's a hard question, because do you mean like, do they mean what is my favorite piece of clothing like on that I like to wear, or like what's my favorite because it's the most comfortable? You know, I need more context with some of these questions, because I'm like, what are we asking here? You know, my favorite piece of clothing would honestly have to be the new bra that I just bought, because it is incredibly comfortable. It's actually the right cup size for once, and I don't have to think about my bra, which is a really nice change, because before the straps would pinch, it would move, they would roll, and I'm constantly adjusting, and not like consciously, but I'm constantly having to think about my bra and what it's doing on my body. And it's really nice to have one that I don't have to do that with. What would you name your children? I don't have children, so what would I name them? If I did have children, that's hard, because part of me is like, I'd probably name them some dumb shit, like, you know, Luke Skywalker, you know what I mean? Like, some kind of pop culture reference. But I've always loved the name Wren for boys. I think that's such a pretty name. Not like Wren the bird, W-R-E-N. I like R-E-N, which I know that tends to be a more feminine spelling of the name. But, oh, and I'm just using my NYX Buttermilk Bronzer. But yeah, if I had kids, I would name them Wren for a boy and Oceania for a girl, which I know is quite extra. But, like, who are we talking about here? Me, you know. I skipped a couple questions, so we're going to go backwards. Did I go to college? Yes, I did. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in graphic communications from Western Illinois University. How long was my longest relationship? It is actually the one that I am in right now. I have been with my boyfriend for 10 years, and it's very annoying because we get asked questions about when we're going to get married all the time, and it's one of those that, like, could it be on the horizon eventually? Maybe, but at this point in my life, I see marriage as such a barbaric, patriarchal institution that literally was invented so that men could own women. I just don't have any interest in it. It's not something that, you know, like, I have interest in it because I want to have a party. You know, like, I want to have the reception. That's why there's interest in it. But I'm like, that's not a good enough reason to have legal documents put through. Plus, I really like my own last name. There's just a lot of things. So, whatever. Point is, we've been together for 10 years, and it's been a fun ride with each other at our side. The next question is asking, what is or was your favorite subject in high school? My favorite subject in high school was probably, well, if you don't count band and choir, because those probably honestly would have been my favorite subject, because it had all my favorite people in it. It had my favorite teachers. It felt more like a club that you were in instead of like a traditional class. But if I had to pick a traditional class, I would say Spanish was my favorite. I was in the advanced math classes, but I didn't actually like math. So can't exactly pick it as my favorite when I know I did not like it at all. I was like, just because I happen to be sort of good at it doesn't mean that I enjoy doing it. What is my favorite ice cream flavor? My favorite ice cream flavor is chocolate chip cookie dough or mint chocolate chip. They're kind of neck and neck with one another. What was my first job? My first job ever was at a pet store called Life Beneath the Sea. And obviously, like it sounds, we sold freshwater fish, saltwater fish, and other small reptiles, hermit crabs. At one point, there were even birds. The birds were probably my least favorite, because if they did not like you, you knew about it and you had to hear about it. They weren't going to be quiet about it. Like a fish. If a fish didn't like you, they're just swimming away from you. You don't have to hear them screaming the way that you do birds. Ooh, what is the first item on my bucket list? That is a good question. So the first item on my bucket list would probably be to go to Bali. I really want to visit there. And not just for the like aesthetic photos you see of there. Obviously, it's a gorgeous place, but I really want to go because I would love to experience the culture and learn more about Indonesia and that side of things as well, instead of just, oh, it's pretty here. The next question is, what is your go-to hairstyle? And you are looking at it right here. Messy bun of sorts, because I have very long, thick, curly hair that is sometimes, I don't want to say unmanageable, but it is a lot of work to manage, and I don't necessarily feel like doing it every day because it's just exhausting, to be completely honest. So it's just a lot easier to throw it in a messy bun and call it good. Have I been to any concerts or festivals? I have been to a lot of concerts. That was kind of my thing when I was younger, both in high school and directly after high school. That was just kind of like that was a personality trait for me, I will say, was going to concerts. And I'm trying to find a brush right now, and I'm failing miserably. This will have to work. But I have seen a lot of people in concert. I'm very fortunate in that regard. I've seen Fall Out Boy, Panic! At the Disco, My Chemical Romance, Blink 182, Chunk No Captain Chunk, Close Your Eyes, We the Kings, Cute Is What We Aim For. I don't know if I can't remember if I said Cobra Starship or not. Metro Station, Boys Like Girls. I'm blanking because there's so many. Forever the Sickest Kids. Really, out of all of those that I named, you can tell what kind of music I'm into. And honestly, a lot of the same bands on the same record labels I've gotten to see. But I went to a lot of concerts, and this was before they costed an arm and a leg. So I'm very grateful to have had those experiences that are, basically like unattainable now because of how expensive it is to go to one. If I could change one bad habit of mine, what would it be? Procrastination. I am the queen of procrastination. I don't intend to be that way. I don't want to be that way, but it really is just like a character flaw. And it's very frustrating because if I had it my way, I would not be that way. But I've got to do work on that. Now I'm setting with the RCMA translucent loose setting powder. The next question is, what is my most memorable childhood memory? And they got a lot of questions on childhood. Somebody that didn't have a fucked up childhood wrote this, like, you can tell. I think we might just skip this question because I don't want to answer it. The next question is, what are your pet peeves? And my personal pet peeves are whistling. I hate whistling. Couldn't tell you why. There's probably something logged back in there, in the old noggin as to why I hate whistling, but I really fucking hate whistling. And I really hate, I'm not one of those people like, oh my gosh, you made mouth noises while you were eating, like, shit happens. I understand. But I don't like mouth noises on podcasts, which is why I don't listen to podcasts, because I've heard too many of them where I can hear their mouth noises in the microphone, and that grosses me out because it's like amplified. A lot of my pet peeves are correlated to where I work, which is at a pharmacy. So I have a lot of work pet peeves where, people will call in and be mad at you that they ran out of their prescription and don't have any refills on it, and they waited till they ran out and it's a weekend and they're mad at you. Like, that's a pet peeve. Do you have any bad habits? Yes, I do. I have a bad habit of eating too much. I have never been diagnosed with like an eating disorder, but I tend to eat my feelings. I don't do it nearly as bad since going to therapy and having done work in that regard, but it still rears its ugly head every now and again. Do I have any pets? Yes, I do. His name is Heath, and he is a 13-year-old poodle, and he's looking at me right now because I'm talking about him. I'll put a picture up here, but that's my boy, my handsome Bobantsome. He's the Bobank and Crankenstanks. Half of my names for him, I don't even know where I got him. I just call him that. Like, it just comes out. And I'm like, okay, that's what we're calling him now. How many siblings do you have? I have one sister. Do you prefer the city or the country? Most of the time, if I were to answer this, I'd say the city. But the older I get, the more I can see the value in the people who say the country, because I live in a small town. I don't live in a city. So it's like country adjacent, if that makes sense. And I see the value in it because you really get left alone. And especially if you're out, like way out in the country, not in a town or city at all, you definitely get left alone. But then there's also the flip side of like, you're alone. You got to drive to do anything. You got to drive. You want food? Well, you're driving. If you don't feel like cooking, you're driving somewhere pretty far. You're not getting DoorDash because they probably don't deliver it to you, So it's like there's good and bad. But if I had to answer, I would say a city, just because that fits more of my personality. Where did you grow up? So I actually grew up in Southern Virginia in a town called Waverly. And I loved it there. But something happened with my mom's job and my grandma getting hurt at the same time. And so we had to move to come live with my grandma, who lives in this really small town called Vermont. She has since passed away, sadly. But anyway, so we moved from Virginia to Illinois, and then we ended up moving from Illinois to Iowa. And then Iowa's where I spent the most amount of time other than Virginia. And then I moved back to Illinois to go to school, and that's where I am now, is in Illinois. So kind of all over the place is where I grew up, is the best way to answer that question. What social media platform do you use the most? So I would say I don't have my screen time thing turned on my phone because I don't feel like it's shaming me for what I have or haven't done on my phone. But if I had to guess, I would say I spend the most amount of time on either YouTube or TikTok, because we love YouTube and we love TikTok. But Instagram's probably a close second. If those two are tied for first, Instagram is a close second. And sometimes I use Snapchat more like a texting app to like text my friends, because I pay more attention to the notifications from Snapchat than I do from my text messages. I am pretty bad about responding to text messages, and don't know why that is, but it is what it is. It is what it is. And I'm just using the Laura Geller Gilded Honey. The next question, what is one thing you wished people knew about you? Hmm. I don't know. This is a tough question to answer because it implies that I care what other people think about me, and I really just do not. But I guess one thing I wish that people knew about me is that
2 hours later.
I have been through a lot mentally and emotionally, and that is part of what makes up who I am, the content of my character. So, yeah, and it's kind of like I just wish people would know that about everybody, not just me necessarily, but I wish people would know that everybody has a story, everybody's been through something, try to be kind, lead with kindness. Obviously, if I lead with kindness and I don't get kindness reciprocated, that kindness is revoked. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind, I ain't stupid. You know what I mean? Like, you're getting the energy that you give. When was the last time you embarrassed yourself? The last time I embarrassed myself was walking to the bus and I biffed it. So, that's embarrassing. I also biffed it at the public pool. So, that would probably, I don't know, that would probably qualify. What is your morning routine? So my morning routine varies again on what I'm doing. I usually like to wake up, obviously, can't be morning routine if I don't wake up, but I like to wake up and then I will do my skincare and brush my teeth, kind of take care of everything I need to take care of in the bathroom. And then I will take my dog outside, have him go to the restroom, and then depending on what time I work, I usually like to shower closer to when I'm going to leave for work. So I usually shower like an hour before I'm going to leave for work. But if I don't have to work, then I'll just do like a night shower. So like I said, it really just depends on what I'm doing. But for the most part, skincare, brush my teeth, take my dog outside. Those are givens no matter what's going on for the day. What is your favorite book? So if I had to pick a singular book, I would have to pick Sunrise on the Reaping. It is just one of the most beautifully written, terribly heart-wrenching, just good stories. But my real answer to that is that I just love the Hunger Games books. I love all of them. I love the original trilogy. I love the prequel book that Suzanne wrote, and I love the second prequel book that she wrote, Sunrise on the Reaping. So, yeah, with that being said, obviously I love a good dystopian sci-fi-esque, something in that vein. What are your hobbies? So my hobbies, I like to read. I enjoy reality TV. I enjoy social media. I like hanging out with my dog. I love karaoke. Karaoke is probably one of my favorite pastimes. I do it weekly at a bar with friends, and then I do it all the time at home. What is my favorite color? My favorite color, it might look like it's purple from this video because I'm wearing a purple shirt and my eyeshadow that I just did was purple, but my favorite color is actually lime green. Has been since I was in the second grade, and I basically was, I don't want to say forced to pick a color, but the thought of a favorite color hadn't dawned on me at that point in time in my life. And the next thing I knew, that was what everyone was talking about. Everyone was talking about, this is my favorite color. My favorite color is this. And I was just like, what is my favorite color? Like, what? I like all the colors. But then after thinking about it, assessing things, I was like, it's lime green. Lime green is it. That's it for me. I even have kitchen utensils that are lime green because my toothbrush is lime green. I live for lime green. What phone do you have? So I have an iPhone 13, just the regular one. I don't have the Pro or the Max or whatever the abbreviations, whatever the words after them are now. I can never keep track, but I like it. It's serving me well, so I don't foresee getting a new phone for quite a long time. I'm just using the Lash Princess mascara. How many countries have you traveled to? I have only been out of the country once. I went to Mexico last year on a cruise, and that was a lot of fun. Mexico is beautiful, beautiful people, beautiful scenery, beautiful water. Like, I went to Cozumel and I didn't want to leave, so I didn't cry, but I wanted to. I wanted to cry because we were leaving, but I didn't want to make everybody else sad, so I just held it in. But yeah, Mexico's the only place I've ever traveled to outside of the US. So that is it for the Get to Know Me. There are more questions, but we ran out of makeup. Makeup is all done. So I didn't want to just keep talking for the sake of talking. If there's any questions that you guys think of that you want to ask, that you are curious to know about me, feel free to comment them below. I would love to answer them. I'd love to hear from you as well from some of these questions. I just really want to get to know and engage with the people that are watching me, because I think it's really cool that you're taking time out of your day to look at my face on your screen. That's still wild to me, whether it's one person or 20 people. I think it's awesome and a privilege. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!